had indeed promised you earlier that I was going to be joined. This is not a bench, essentially. Let me call it a desk. Here behind the desk by former head of public service, former secretary to the cabinet, Francis Kimemia, former governor, Nyandarua County. Good to have you in studio tonight. Thank you. Or should I say tonight?
Thank you.
Your thoughts, first of all, on the nominations that President William Ruto made today. We saw 4 members of ODM leadership join the list of cabinet nominees. Were you expecting that? Did it give you a sense of deja vu? What are your thoughts?
Well, this is a country of surprises. So he had indicated, President indicated that he was going to form a wider government. It happens in politics with a purpose, of course. So it didn't. I think the people who have been appointed, Kino Paranya and Joho and the rest, are people that we know, who have performed, worked with me in cabinet. So I believe we are watching, in the future very keenly to see what happens. Will they merge their manifestos, for instance? Because KK had their own, Kenya Kwanza had its own manifesto. ODM has a manifesto. So will they merge their manifestos, or is it a marriage of politics, or is it a marriage of economic empowerment of this country? I think those would be the issues that we'll be looking into. And then, of course, the quality of opposition in this country. What happens? What does it imply in terms of the quality of opposition in this country?
Those are the questions you're asking.
Yes.
So,
those are questions that everybody's be asking. Is it the end of opposition, or is it expanding, the ideological dimension of Kenya Kwanza to include the ODM ideological dimension? Was politics about ideologies and their beliefs and their doctrine? Kenya Kwanza has its own doctrine. ODM has come in. So is it a matter of doctrine, or is it a matter of political interests?
And again, where does that leave the opposition then? I saw Avinya Ndeti say Wiper now becomes the official opposition. But I was asking if this gives you a sense of deja vu, because you served under Mwai Kibaki and Uhuru Kenyatta, head of public service, and Mwai Kibaki, secretary to the cabinet, and Uhuru Kenyatta. And this is, I saw the tag there when the story was running, that this Baba, the fourth handshake.
Yes.
So did it give you a sense, has today given you a sense of deja vu?
I think personally, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. If they come and focus the nation towards economic empowerment, economic improvement, revitalize the economy, if that happens, there'll be some excitement. If it's just a marriage of political convenience, I think it will be a big blow to Kenyans. We expect the economy is quite low. The activities on the streets are derived from disillusionment in terms of performance of the economy, the debt issue. So we expect that they are coming in because of their wide experience to see what can be done for this country. We want to wish the best. It is bad to always think the worst. We hope they are coming to help Kenya Kwanza administration to improve this economy.
And what do you make of the decision to retain, how many, is it 10 of his former cabinet secretaries after sacking them first?
I believe he initially had to sack everybody to cool the tension in the country. It would have been very good if we were told that, looking at the performance contracting, the ones who have come back are those who did very well. I think if it was performance-driven retention, that would have been very, very. But you see, these are political administration, it's a political government. This is a president who was elected by Kenyans on some promises that he made. So you would have to let him appoint the team that he thinks will help him deliver his mandate. Else then you can't hold him accountable. He will be blaming you that you dictated on the cabinet members that I should have, so you can't demand accountability from me. So I know Kenyans expected new faces. But it is his discretion, as per the Constitution. Nothing bars him from reappointing and even sacking again, and even reappointing. But for us, what we want are results. Does that sacking or reappointment translate into food on the table of the Wanjiku or Chieng or whoever, or the kids going to school? Will it bring better free education for university students? Better scholarships, better quality of life. I think ultimately that's what we are looking for. not the face, the color of the face or the tribe of the person or the region that he comes from. Are they going to deliver the economy, or revive the economy, revitalize the economy, reduce the debt, bring the interest rate to 1 digit? That's what we're looking for. Bring standards back to government, bring a reputable, administration that competes internationally as an economy. Kenya is a market. It's a market for the world. We're not just a pariah state or a village country. We compete internationally. Our goods go out of this country to compete, whether it's coffee or tea or petroleum or whatever, or vegetables or flowers. We are an international destination of choice in the past. So we should not allow ourselves to be. So are they going to make Kenya the best choice for the international community, for tourism, for investment, and for growth? I think that's what we'll be looking for. And that's what Cabinet is all about, working together and making sure that the nation moves to the second level, not backwards or into demonstrations or frustrations of the people.
Well, some of those these cabinet secretaries, PSs, President William Ruto's student said he knows more, or at that point he knew more than some of them on these dockets. Yep. What usually are the considerations when a president, given you've seen what happens behind the curtain?
Yes.
What are some of the considerations a president keeps in mind when choosing cabinet secretaries?
I think first and foremost, you see, you are as good as your people. No institution grows beyond the capacity of its human resource. So the people you put in place will reflect on your administration, whether negatively or positively. So it is your business as a head of state or CEO of the country, or even as a minister appointing, say, parastatal heads, to go for the best in terms of competencies, the capacity of that person to deliver the mandate that is going to be in charge of. So that becomes a very major consideration in the appointments of cabinet ministers. Sometimes after elections, there is that temptation to nominate people who campaigned with you. It's very, very fatalistic. It ends up very badly in most cases. It happened to me in Nyandarua. It happens to various administrations. It happened during Kibaki regime. So there is that issue, because you also, is a political government. These guys helped you to win votes. Do you throw all of them out? Some may not be very competent. Do you bring them in the cabinet, or do you wait and take them to other places where they are not less effective, and that their inefficiency is not a trigger, doesn't trigger negatively? Because any minister who doesn't perform will trigger definitely negatively across the entire administration, because government is very intertwined and interlinked. And the other issues is what is in the Constitution. You can't appoint people from one region. You have to make sure that you have national representation across the country. And I think that's what the president is trying to do, to bring people from other regions to also join the table. So it doesn't look like a Gikuyu Kalenjin administration, but at least they haven't tried even before, but at least bring more inclusivity, which are some of the values in the Constitution, that you have to appoint various gender people. I mean, you must get that % of the appointments. So some of those criteria in the cabinet, in the Constitution also does also affect, if you can't say get a particular person, either a youth or a gender person or a PWD. Those are some of the considerations that you have to make. You have to balance out of those 20. At least you have to know that you have to get a third, must be women, by definition of the Constitution. Otherwise, then it will be disbanded in the court of law. So you have to look at competencies, you have to look at the requirements in the Constitution, and then you have to look at that person, the capacity of that person to endear your government to the people. And I think that's possibly why maybe there were problems in the cabinet that was disbanded.
It sounds like a tough balance again.
It's very, very difficult. It's extremely difficult. Even in the county, it's extremely difficult. Because you may want somebody who is very good, but because of the limitations in terms of gender, or in terms of regional representation, or in terms of age, you have to get a youth, then that becomes very complicated.
All right.
So there are times you have to give and take. But bearing in mind that government works in what you call the role of government approach. So even if you have one minister who may be handicapped somehow, it will be compensated by the rest of the team. If the cabinet is working together under that principle of collective responsibility, that every minister can work in any ministry and can defend any minister, irrespective of which ministry he's in.
Okay.
The collective responsibility principle.
The whole of government approach.
And the whole of government approach.
We keep hearing about.
Yes, everybody works together for the common good. That's why I talked about ideological asymmetry between ODM and Kenya Kwanza.
Okay.
Then they must tell us that they are going to merge their manifestos and then give us what comes out, what is the hybrid that comes out, and will it translate into better goods and services in this country.
Okay. So we will take a break, but we will continue with this conversation on the other side.